We are tracking several late-breaking stories. Good evening. A SWAT situation happening right now on the east side.
Yes, and several people have been arrested tonight as police enforce some new restrictions in the park. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Heather Rowe.
And I'm Craig Thomas. First, we want to take you live out to the SWAT situation. That's near Pantano and Broadway. You see a big police presence. This is what we know from police. They got a report a man fired at least one shot at a vehicle in a parking lot. Then the man went into an apartment. Witnesses say they heard more shots after that. Police believe he's still inside an apartment by himself. A woman who was inside is now out and safe. 3 children also live there, but fortunately they were not at home. We will continue to follow the story. We're obviously on the scene, and we'll give you an update on any changes on this SWAT situation. Meanwhile, a new move tonight in the uneasy relationship between the city of Tucson and the homeless people who stay downtown. Yes,
police removed some of the items that people were keeping along Viente de Augusto Park downtown tonight. That's where we find KOLD News 13's J.D. Wallace. He is live after speaking with both police and those who are living along the sidewalk along that park. J.D.?
Well, Heather, Tucson police say they did not come here to remove any of the people sleeping on the sidewalk here, but to take some of the things to keep them from spilling over this black line into the park or from spilling out into the sidewalk and possibly blocking it. Now, cooperation between about 25 homeless and 15 police officers led to the removal of bikes, excess bags, and other things that people here were keeping. Police say only 2 arrests were made tonight, and those were cited and released. One for obstructing the sidewalk, the other for remaining in the park after it closed. Those here tonight can still have a sleeping bag, non-alcoholic drink, and backpack. While there has been cooperation between the city and those living here, Occupy Public Land says the ordinance remains too vague, only calling for the sidewalk to not be obstructed, not regulating what they can have.
There's no statute that says that you can't have property on the sidewalk. There's a general statute of general applicability that says you can't block a sidewalk, but it doesn't say what you can or can't have. And so I asked the government to clarify that. They still really haven't. They're making the cops do that.
Well, the city has this ordinance that says you cannot obstruct a sidewalk at all with any property at all, and we're giving them a little bit. We're allowing them the bedroll, something to drink that's non-alcoholic, and a backpack.
And police say the items that were removed tonight can be reclaimed by their owners later. Reporting live from downtown, J.D. Wallace, KOLD News 13, live local 8 breaking.
An Oro Valley man faces charges tonight. Police say he downloaded and shared child pornography on the internet. Jesus Miguel Tovar sits in the Pima County Jail tonight facing 10 counts of sexual exploitation of a minor. Police say they got a tip and they tracked the man to his home. U.S. Marshals then helped police serve a warrant, and police say inside they found enough evidence to accuse him of these crimes. Meanwhile, an elementary school math teacher in Phoenix is in jail, accused of having sex with a female student in his classroom and touching another student inappropriately. John Borja was a boys cross-country coach at a local high school for years. He taught at Morris Udall Elementary. Police say he became sexually involved with students in the 2012-2013 school year, and school officials say his job status still to be determined once the investigation is finished. Right now, he faces charges of sexual conduct with a minor, sex abuse, and molestation.
Animal Control in Pinal County has rescued dozens of dogs from what they are describing tonight as living in terrible conditions. 32 dogs removed from a home southwest of Eloy in Silver Bell Estates, just up the interstate from Tucson. KOLD News 13's Matt Mendez joining us now live in the studio with the really messy conditions and unfortunate conditions that these dogs were living in. Matt?
That's right, Heather. Animal control officers say the home had urine stains on the walls and the dogs had matted fur. The owner is suspected of hoarding the poodle mixes for only a short time, but some neighbors I talked to were appalled at their living conditions.
I'm just mortified.
Donna Dykstra had few words to explain her dismay after I showed her these pictures of some of the dogs and their terrible living conditions.
I sure wish I'd have known they were there. Maybe I would have done something about it.
32 dogs, which appear to be poodle mixes, were removed from a home just down the street. And these pictures given by Pinal County Animal Control show you some of the filthy conditions, urine stains on the walls, and the dog's matted fur.
You just don't know, what's around in your neighborhood.
Can't imagine anyone doing that in their home.
A neighbor tipped off animal control Thursday, so they came to the home to remove all the dogs.
I just don't like to see animals treated that way. I mean, if you want them, take care of them. If you don't, then leave them to somebody who does.
Officials say the owner thought she was actually helping the animals. It'll be up to the county attorney's office to determine whether she'll be charged. And the woman now needs to legally surrender the dogs to Pinal County Animal Control so they can begin the adoption process. Right now, the dogs are undergoing health evaluations, and there is an ordinance in Pinal County that states if you have 6 or more dogs, you need a special kennel license. Reporting live tonight, Matt Mendes, KOLD News 13, live, local, late breaking.
New developments tonight for that Arizona State University fraternity that had a party many found offensive and racist. You probably remember fraternity members showed up to the Martin Luther King Jr. party dressed in costumes that portrayed racial stereotypes. The National Fraternity Organization for Tau Kappa Epsilon just responded. A spokesman says only 16 of the 125 members of the fraternity attended, and all those who attended, the 16, face suspension or expulsion from the organization. The ASU chapter also plans to release a public apology.
A California man facing more than 24 felony charges tonight after authorities say that he attacked a bus driver while traveling down an Arizona highway. Police say that Mikel Morris went after the Greyhound bus driver, causing the bus to go off the road, injuring 24 passengers. Morris is now being charged with 28 counts, including endangerment and aggravated assault. He was reportedly hallucinating when this incident happened. Well, happening right now, we have a live look at some protests that are going on in the Ukraine. Ralliers there are rejecting an offer from the country's president to reshuffle his government and to grant amnesty to dozens of jailed activists. A top opposition leader says tonight nothing short of his resignation will do. Protests erupted in Kiev since the president backed out of a European Union deal in November, aligning itself with Russia instead.
New details tonight. Officials released the name of the victim who was shot and killed at a university in South Carolina today. 20-year-old Brandon Robinson shot and killed on the campus of South Carolina State University. Police still searching for 4 suspects who escaped from the campus. Officials say the campus is now secure and the students are safe.
There's been a gunshot at the Cop Theater. This feels like there's blood going through his lungs.
Officials just released the 911 tapes from a shooting at a Florida movie theater. The man, Chad Olson, killed during the shooting. Investigators say he was shot by a retired policeman named Curtis Reeves. Reeves was angry that Olson wouldn't stop texting during the movie previews, so he pulled out a gun and shot him in the chest. Well, some changes in the weather today. We had some blowing winds this afternoon.
Yes, and First Alert meteorologist Kevin Jeans is joining us now to tell us if that's going to continue throughout our weekend. I'm hoping not.
No, in fact, this afternoon, it wasn't too bad. It was mainly in the morning that was the big problem. So during the morning, commuters, as they were driving around, it was kind of blowing around from east to west. A little bit of dust, not a whole lot, though, but it is improving, and that's the good news here. And the rest of the weekend looks pretty good. We had a lot of clouds throughout the day today, and we still have clouds out there right now. There's an area of low pressure just to the southwest of us, and a little disturbance here bringing a little bit of tropical moisture, just not enough. And unfortunately, all this rain is falling but evaporating before it reached the ground. So maybe a sprinkle or two overnight, but the chances even that probably less than 5%. A lot of clouds, though, through the rest of the overnight. And this is from Mount Lemmon. Tough to see the stars through a lot of the clouds tonight. Clouds last through at least tomorrow morning, but I will talk about the rest of the weekend forecast. That's coming up.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, Kevin. Happening tomorrow, a group of Arizona Republicans have a bone to pick with Senator John McCain over his voting record. They say it's more closely aligned with the opinions of liberal Democrats than with conservatives. The group is planning on introducing a resolution to censure McCain tomorrow. They're citing McCain's support of funding for President Obama's Affordable Care Act and the immigration reform that includes a path to citizenship. This resolution needs signatures from at least 20% of state committee members to head to the floor.
Representative Rahul Grijalva joining a congresswoman from New York sending a letter to President Obama about immigration reform. Today's letter asks the president to mention what they call the ongoing deportation crisis during next week's State of the Union address. Grijalva wrote a similar letter to the president last month, and that one was co-signed by 26 colleagues and asked the White House to stop deportations for certain people. Grijalvo released this statement today, quote, "Waking up each morning wondering if or whether you'll be separated from your family is not any kind of way to live your life in the United States."
We need comprehensive immigration reform, is the bottom line of this. To be blunt, we have a dumb system, and we should just stand up and acknowledge that.
That is a Republican talking. Some Republicans putting pressure on Congress to act on immigration reform this year. You just listened to Michigan Governor Rick Snyder, along with former New York City Mayor Mike Bloomberg, who is independent. Both spoke out today. Bloomberg says a Republican Party that ignores the nation's Hispanic population will be in political trouble. House Speaker John Boehner and other GOP leaders appear to be working on a set of principles on immigration. They expect to present those next week.
Well, we're following a late-breaking situation right now. We have a live look at a very active scene. We are tracking a SWAT situation, and we will have the latest coming up right after the break.
Plus, new surveillance video caught Justin Bieber's alleged drag race on camera. KOLD News 13 live at 10 continues for your neighborhood. I'm Craig Thomas.
And I'm Heather Rowan. Right now, we are showing you the top 3 stories on our website for this week. You can read all about them at TucsonNewsNow.com.